The door exploded inward at 4 a.m., splintering wood and shattering my sleep. "Don't move, or I'll blow your head off." 3 armed officers stormed my bedroom, their flashlights blinding me as they barked orders. My heart pounded as cold handcuffs bit into my wrists. My crime: a tiny eco-friendly flag in my garden, barely a foot tall. Humiliated in my own home, I stood shivering in pajamas as they tore through my cabin. This was the 4th raid in a month, all because of HOA rules that seemed to target only me. But this time, I didn't just fight back, I obliterated their entire operation, draining their budget with one devastating lawsuit. 2 years ago, I was a broken man. My divorce from Lisa, after catching her with my coworker, left me reeling. I lost 20 pounds, my trust, and nearly my job as a remote coder. Therapy helped, but the memories lingered like ghosts. My therapist urged me to find a sanctuary, a place to rebuild. Pinewood Grove seemed like a miracle, a quiet cabin nestled among towering pines, affordable, with promises of a tight-knit community. The online photos of misty forests and cozy homes felt like a lifeline. I moved in, craving peace, and for a few days, I found it. Birds sang at dawn, the air smelled of pine, and I slept without pills for the first time in months. I started a journal, tracking sparrows at my feeder, and planted a small vegetable patch. Then the first violation notice slid under my door like a venomous snake. Lawn exceeds 2.5 inches. Fine, $50. I measured 2.7 inches. Grumbling, I paid and mowed. 3 days later, another notice. Trash bin 3 inches off designated spot. Fine, $75. The garbage collectors had shifted it, not me. As I adjusted the bin, a sleek BMW rolled up. Out stepped Catherine Heller, HOA president, her designer suit as sharp as her scowl. "Mr. Carter," she said, skipping pleasantries, "I see you're addressing your violation. Good. We have standards here." Her voice dripped with rehearsed charm, but her eyes were cold. I tried explaining, but she cut me off. "Rules are rules. Fines double in 48 hours. She glanced at my cabin. "Your paint's not on our approved list. That's $150. Stunned, I protested the cabin was this color when I bought it. Her lips curled. "Prior ownership doesn't excuse noncompliance. Read the handbook." That night, fuming over the 238-page HOA binder I'd barely skimmed, I met my neighbor, Sophia Bennett, a quick-witted lawyer. Over coffee, she smirked, "Welcome to Heller's empire." She described Catherine's 12-year reign, how fines fueled the HOA's budget, and her cozy ties with Sheriff Daniel Brooks. "She's a failed corporate tyrant who rules Pinewood like her fiefdom," Sophia said. "Brooks is her muscle. Watch your back." Determined to avoid trouble, I pored over the handbook, finding a maze of contradictory rules. Bird feeders were both banned as obtrusive and encouraged as wildlife-friendly. Appeals required triplicate forms, a $50 fee, and 60 days, by which time fines doubled. It was a machine built to extort. The harassment escalated. Notices piled up. Unapproved curtain color. Improper mailbox angle. Excessive bird activity. Fines ranged from $100 to $300, draining $2,000 in my first month. My savings dwindled, and new violations sprouted no matter how meticulously I complied. When I appealed, Catherine lost my paperwork. Hours after any complaint, Sheriff Brooks appeared, his cruiser a grim omen. I clocked it. 90 minutes after an email challenging Catherine, Brooks was at my door. It was psychological warfare, designed to break me. The first raid came during a barbecue with colleagues. I checked the rules. Grilling allowed until 10 p.m., noise under 60 decibels. At 9:55 p.m., Brooks stormed in, lights flashing, claiming a noise complaint. My app showed 52 decibels, but he ignored it, escorting me to his car like a criminal as my guests watched, mortified. Catherine smirked from her porch across the street. The second raid hit at dawn. Over a virtual work meeting Brooks called an anti-HOA gathering. Deputies eyed my coding set up like it had bombs. The third, at 2 a.m., was for unauthorized political activity. I'd been asleep, alone, after watching a movie. They ransacked my home, leaving chaos. Brooks leaned in, coffee breath hot on my face. "I can do this every night. Comply or sell." Sleepless nights followed. Every creak made me jump. I kept a baseball bat by my bed, not for violence but for comfort. Work suffer missed deadlines, sloppy code. My anxiety meds, nearly phased out, became a nightly crutch. Sophia noticed my exhaustion. They've driven out 5 others, she said. Most just sell. I met Ethan Harper, a timid HOA board member, at a diner miles away. Catherine wants her cabin for her niece, he whispered. It's prime for remote work. She's done this before. I tracked down Malik Johnson, a music teacher forced out last year. They find me for African art, tell me daily, he said. I sold at a loss. The pattern was clear. Target, harass, evict, acquire. The 4th raid, at 4 a.m., was the breaking point. Over my eco-flag within size limits, they pounded my door, surrounded my cabin, and handcuffed me in my driveway as neighbors peeked. Brooks whispered, next time's worse. Cut your losses. Humiliation burned, but something snapped. I wasn't the confrontational type. Me divorce had crushed that, but this was my last stand. If they want to fight, I told Sophia, they'll get one. Sophia devised a plan. I installed a $5,000 security system, cameras, audio, cloud backup. The technician, sensing my fear, slipped me his card. HOAs can be brutal. Document everything. I coded a dashboard, analyzing public records and Ethan's leaked data. It revealed a chilling truth. Single residents like me were fined 4 times more often, prime properties 7 times. Fines had tripled under Catherine. It wasn't enforcement, it was predation. I met Clara Thompson, a 78-year-old widow fined $300 for improper rose pruning and $400 for curtains. I skipped my heart meant to pay, she wept. This wasn't just harassment, it was abuse. We filed a state complaint and prepped a civil rights case. I fixed every violation, photographing proof, knowing they'd invent more. The goal was to catch them breaking laws. They obliged with the 5th raid, claiming a drug tip. At 2 a.m., Brooks' team breached my door. A deputy found a bag of white powder in my kitchen. Landed. I knew. Handcuffed, booked, and jailed, I faced Brooks' ultimatum: plead guilty, sell, or rot in prison. Despair hit, but Sophia's voice cut through. She'd caught the deputy planting the drugs on camera. Release him, or I call the FBI, she told Brooks. He complied, blaming rogue officers. The next morning, we sued Catherine, Brooks, the county, and deputies for civil rights violations, conspiracy, and evidence tampering. The FBI opened a probe. A reporter's expose sparked outrage, and residents shared similar stories. Ethan leaked HOA records showing enforcement slush funds to deputies. Catherine smeared me, claiming I was a drug-addled troublemaker. My home was egged, tires slashed, but I refused to flee. Digging deeper, I traced Pinewood Properties, which bought forced-out homes, to Brooks' wife, with Catherine pocketing fees per sale. We added RICO charges, alleging a property theft racket. The lawsuit gained traction. A judge greenlit discovery, alarmed by the abuse pattern. Brooks offered to testify against Catherine for immunity. I refused. Both had to fall. Ethan warned Catherine was shredding files. We got a preservation order. Outside court, Brooks yelled at Catherine, "I'm not going down for you," caught on video by a supporter. Their alliance crumbled. Then, I did the unthinkable. I ran for HOA president. Bylaw 4.2 allowed it, and my campaign Pinewood Justice compromised transparency. Catherine panicked, rigging voting rules, but I navigated each hurdle. On election night, as I pitched reform, my phone pinged. Someone was breaking into my cabin. Sophia projected live footage. Catherine and Brooks, gloved, planting evidence. The packed room gasped. Residents called state police, who arrested the mid-act, live-streamed to thousands. The story exploded online, a symbol of small-town corruption exposed. I won the election with 87% of votes. Brooks was suspended. Catherine jailed for 18 months on conspiracy and extortion. Our $4.3 million lawsuit victory funded a legal aid fund for HOA victims. Pinewood's secret $2 million slush fund and 23 coerced sales came to light. I reformed the HOA, making it a national model. A new family moved in, their daughter handing me wildflowers. "Thanks for making this safe," she said. My eyes stung. I hadn't just one-eyed given a voice to the silenced. Justice, it turns out, always has a chance. Word count, 4,800 characters.